this is Rick. Welcome to Spit Take. I'm here with Adam.
Hello.
Um, I don't know. Steph's
I'm
doing
here.
something. I
Steph is
guess you
here.
can hear.
I I can hear you.
She can hear
That's
us.
weird. Maybe it's the system. Maybe it wasn't the computer at all.
Yeah. I don't
Well,
know.
Steph wasn't able to hear us before. I'm pretty
For-
sure
For the last
Riverside.
half hour.
I think Riverside sucks. I think that's what it is. I think it was Riverside all along.
Well,
It literally can't be me because the minute you started this, I started to hear you.
weird.
Anyways, I'm here with Adam and Steph, and we've been
Finally.
sitting here for a half an hour, but it's okay because I was actually working because my work never stops because, I have to carry the trauma of the world on my shoulders. So anyways, for whatever reason, I don't know, I was thinking I don't know if I have some kind of past trauma with a certain type of movie, and it's the way this certain type, it's like 70s exploitation, avant-garde, like films,
Mhm.
okay? And in August, the Toxic Avenger is coming out, and it's the way that's filmed, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of movies that, since like the 70s, 80s, that have been filmed that way. But like I enjoyed it back then, but it wasn't the same as the way it is now. It's almost like it's like manufactured now, right? But um maybe like when I was a kid back then, it kind of gave me an eerie feeling. But like when I watch some of those movies, there's a lot of them that come out. I was kind of looking up a lot of, and they have like weird synth music that comes with it and stuff like that. And it almost makes my stomach hurt.
Hmm.
Um,
A lot of the trauma movies were like that, though. Like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. That's another one that
I
was.
like the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
It was a
And
good
the
movie.
Saturday morning cartoon that went with it.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I loved it.
Same thing. But it has that grainy feeling. But like, there's this movie I watched maybe last year called I Saw the TV Glow, and it's like, it was terrible. But the whole time I was watching, it kind of made me sick.
Yeah.
It wasn't even because the movie sucked, which it did. But
So that I
What
know.
movie was that?
I saw the TV Glow.
Well,
I don't know what that is.
I know the kind of movies you're talking about, and they're kind of like the old Grindhouse movies. That's
Right.
what I would say. It's the graininess that like reminds me of like the Grindhouse movies.
But it has like a weird. It's like a fever dream when you watch it.
Yes, well, they're always way off. Like they're just crazy ass movies usually.
Right. And you know, and I was telling Adam because like there's this movie that came out a couple of years ago, or a show that came out a couple of years ago on Netflix called The Guardians of Justice, and I wanted to watch it, but at the same time I'm watching this trailer for it, uh, and it was almost like it was interesting, but I was almost sick watching it. But I'm wondering if, like, when I was watching these movies as a kid, it was almost traumatic for me because of like the trauma videos and stuff like that.
Probably.
So it was like it was almost like I was getting sick watching it, although I wanted to watch this movie. But now I'm like watching it, and it's like maybe I cured my trauma. You know,
Could be. I mean,
over the last couple of years of my mindfulness and trauma healing and stuff like that, it's like now I kind of want to watch it. And I was just kind of like, because for some reason I kind of really dug into it today. Like, what are these types of movies? And I was looking on YouTube, and I was looking into this movie. And it took me it took me a little bit to figure out what this series was. Every comment on here is like, "This is a fantastic series." And it's also like it's like putting your brain in a blender. And there is a season 2 coming out next year too. So apparently I got to watch this series.
yeah. Well, and there's it's been very popular having the kind of offbeat superheroes or like the stray from like because you have your Marvel and DC and like what's become popular is Invincible, The Boys. There was that Jupiter movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what
Yeah,
I'm
but I
talking about.
didn't
That
know
was
it
not very
well.
good. No, and then there
I
was
don't know what
and
it is.
the I want to say Jupiter Ascending, but that could be wrong. I don't know. Anyways, it was a movie that had Josh Duhamel as like this superhero, but they're all like kind of they're all trying to do more of like a dark, like different. Umbrella Academy is another one, having superheroes that are just like not what you would expect from a Sunday morning cartoon or Saturday morning cartoon. But
Hmm.
they've been very popular lately, and I have a feeling we'll probably see more of that come out with the new. I mean, even DC has some stuff. The Creature Commandos they did the cartoon of over this over the winter, which was really good. Which is again, I mean, it's DC, but it was kind of a Suicide Squad type thing. But
Hmm.
they're very popular now, and I think a lot of them have been very good. Um,
Yeah.
I still got to finish Umbrella Academy. I didn't watch the final season.
And I really like Umbrella Academy. Uh,
It's a great show.
yeah. It did kind of
What?
go off the rails, but it still kept me hooked.
It was wild. It was very wild.
Hmm. So definitely, I do recommend that. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think. I mean, and I do like still do like the boys, even though I think it's just trying to top itself. And the boys is creating its own universe. It's just making a big
yeah,
thing now, and I'm all for it. Even though I don't know, it just got a great kind of story.
it
I do,
does.
I do like it at the same time. Again, it's got that unsettling feeling to me, but I think Invincible is still my favorite out of all of it, though.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, this Guardians of Justice just had like just this that yeah, the way that it's filmed, it's like it's just that fever dream.
yeah,
I think is what was just like it just gives you like an unsettling feeling while watching it. Um, and maybe I got to give it a chance. It's been out for a couple of years, and yeah, I think I'm gonna give that a chance. So I feel like it just almost seemed like if I watch it, is it gonna go anywhere? It just
right.
it's just
And
like
that's
it's just like is it just weird shit?
the gamble you take. At least you know a second season is coming, because that's one of the worst is when you start a show and you're like, this is really good, and then it gets canceled before they can give you any kind of like closing or satisfaction. I found out recently, Hysteria, which I was raving about back in October, that show got canceled, so I'm not going to get to
Yeah,
see a second season. The
that was
first season was very good.
I
I
thought.
really liked it. Bruce Campbell is awesome, and I was very disappointed to see that there was not going to be a second season for that.
Hmm.
I also didn't know where they were really going to go with it. It had enough of a conclusion that I'm not going to be that upset. I just wanted to see more of Bruce Campbell being a badass sheriff.
Hmm. He played
But
pretty straight in that.
You would.
yeah, well, I started watching a lot. This was a long time ago. I was watching Terra Nova, which was a show that was on
I
Fox,
remember that.
and I was like watching halfway through the first season, and then I was on Facebook. I'm like, oh, this show is great. I can't wait to keep watching. So I was like, hey, that show got canceled after like halfway through season two, and I was like, god damn it. Well, I'm not going to watch any more of this.
There was a show that did that too back in the day. It was a CBS show, or CBS or NBC show, and it was like kind of like an X Files type show. Um,
I think I
and
know what you're talking about.
I was really into it, and I think it lasted maybe a couple episodes, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be good, and it just like ended, and I was really pissed about it.
I'm trying to think because I think I know what show you were talking about because I was watching that too.
Hmm. And
Um,
so that's another thing too. Like you want me to watch a show, but like probably people don't watch shows until it's gonna go,
yeah,
so they can binge it because you want to like make sure that it's gonna keep going.
and I
Um,
and it's even harder nowadays because to get because it used to be you had what 9, 10 channels that and so it was very easy for shows to get like a very popular Nielsen family rating, right? now like there's so many different channels. Like most shows can't break 10% of the Nielsen family.
Mhm.
So it's so much harder for a show to get that kind of popularity.
And I don't watch network TV really. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they have like I'm trying to finish out Yellowstone, and that's on Peacock now, and that's went off the rail. Like it's so annoying now that like everybody's just like such a badass, and nobody messes with them now, and it's like I can't even deal with them. They're such like
Yeah.
Beth is doing community service, and she's on the side of the road wearing her orange, thing, picking up trash, and she's like smoking a cigarette, and the correctional officer's like, "You can't smoke," and she goes, "Oh yeah." Picks up another cigarette and smokes, and he's like, "You know what? We'll make your 12 days one day." And it's like, no, that's not what's going to happen. Because she's got an attitude, you're going to make it one day. You think that's what's going to happen because she's such a badass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, because she's Beth. That's what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This family's really badass.
So, yeah, it's the plot convenience of it. And, and that, so the old Kung Fu show, in like the first few episodes, I think it was like within the first episode, maybe the first like 4 or 5, there's like one point Kwai Chang Caine goes into town and gets beat up by like 3 or 4 guys. And like by the end of like the third season, he's just like taking on like 10 guys at a time, like they're nothing, and it's plot convenient. And I liked it better. This is one of the reasons I always liked the Indiana Jones movies, was because he wasn't like an expert fighter. He was just a
Right.
brawler, right?
Yeah.
And there was actual stakes there. Like he could get his ass kicked. He
Yeah,
was
he
getting
always
his
thought he
ass
was gonna
kicked.
Get his ass kicked.
Yeah. But he was like also clever with how he did things and how he fought. There's intelligence behind it. So, but yeah, it's
And
not
the
just like
legend
I'm a
continues.
badass.
The guy who voices Gambit is the younger guy.
David Carradine? No,
No, the younger one.
Keith Carradine.
No. The and the legend continues.
Oh, okay. I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about the
No, I met him at
Carradine
Comic-Con.
brothers. Oh,
Yeah,
I don't know his name. I don't remember.
I don't know his name. I forget his name, but
I wasn't
really nice.
I wasn't a fan of The Legend Continues.
That's all I remember. I mean, I watched Kung Fu, but that was 100 years ago.
Yeah,
But I remember watching The Legend Continues because that's what my stepdad watched.
yeah.
It was Star Trek Next Generation and Legend Continues.
I think The Legend Continues was on when we were like kids. I think the original Kung Fu was
Yeah,
like,
like 95.
yeah, the original Kung Fu was like we were probably infants or very toddlers or
I think
whatever.
It was like late 70s, wasn't it? Like,
Was it? I have
pretty
no
sure
idea.
Legend Continues. Carradine was like 50 something.
He was pretty old. I'll say that.
So I'm
I'm not-
pretty sure
let's see.
it was almost 20 years ago that Kung Fu was out. Before
Holy
that,
crap.
Kung Fu was out.
1972.
Yeah.
It ran from 72 to 75. Holy crap! I thought it was like in the 80s.
Yeah, I wasn't even born yet when
No.
Kung Fu was out. Because when Legend Continues, that's what I'm saying. Like, I seen it, but I wasn't like watching it because I wasn't even born yet, so I couldn't tell you what was going on with Kung Fu.
Yeah, The Legend Continues was 93 to 97, so there was like a good 20-year gap there between the two. It was we could probably count that as one of the first revival shows ever made.
Yeah,
Wow, incredible.
probably.
Steph, your thoughts?
What do you think?
Never saw
What do
any
you
of
think
it,
of the
so
Beastmaster series? Stuff.
so good.
I wish they
Uh,
Why don't they remake that?
Beastmaster? They're doing a aren't they doing a live action?
Beastmaster is live.
Maybe no, wait. What am I thinking of? He-Man. They're doing a He-Man.
Well, Beastmaster might as well have been He-Man.
They're like interchangeable to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beastmaster was awesome. And then, like, the second one, he came to, like, the real world, and, like, he was a fish out of water.
What a wild time.
It was crazy. Oh man. I cannot imagine what it would be like watching Beastmaster 2 as an adult. I bet I would be terrible. Oh, I should do it.
There's
Every, I wonder how many people actually know what Beastmaster 2 is or Beastmaster is.
I know Beastmaster. I don't know the
I
second
don't know
one.
what it is.
It's basically it's like
Please tell
Conan the
me.
Barbarian. Except it's this guy, this big ripped guy, and this other, in this, barbarian universe, but he like can talk to beasts. So he's got like a panther and a ferret. Like he's got a ferret, like his faithful ferret companion. And then in the second one, I don't know, he gets transported to like our world, and like he gets into crazy shenanigans.
What?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
And Rip
it's
Torn's in
craziness.
it.
It's just
It
craziness.
sounds like something you'd like, though. That sounds right up your alley.
It's
Yeah.
right up there with
Yeah.
because they had the He-Man movie too. It's right up there with that. God, there's a few others.
Masters of the Universe. I don't think
Masters
that
of the
came out
Universe.
like 85, 86, but that was terrible. I
Yeah,
remember that being terrible, and I've watched that several times, wanting to like it.
yes. It's been so long since I've seen it, but there's like some stuff that's burned into my memory from it.
It's just one of those movies that you're watching as a kid, and I know I was like 4 or 5, knowing it's bad. And I was such a He-Man fan as a kid that I had a She-Ra. I had a little
She-Ra
She-Ra
was
with
the
her little dress. I still have. I swear to God, do I still have them? Yes, I
No.
do.
Hey, Rick walked off screen.
Yeah.
He's getting so. Oh,
Oh, God.
there it is. He's got a little figurine.
Come on, man.
There it is. There it is.
Come on, man.
What?
Yeah, yeah. I was talking to. I forget who I was talking to. Maybe it was when I was bartending the other day. We were talking
we
about
serious?
like old '90s movie or '90s
don't-
shows.
I'm showing you Battle
No,
Cat
we're
right
very
now.
proud
You're
of
not freaking out. This is literally like a 40-year-old Battle Cat.
It's very impressive.
You are, yes, we're so proud of you.
I mean, it's not giving
Wow.
me a boner, but
Dude, I've had this.
Ew.
This is, you know how crazy it is that I've had this for 40 years?
that is impressive. I don't think I have a single toy that I've had for 40 years, but I mean,
I'm pretty sure my crazy mom has burned all my Ninja Turtles, but
no,
anyway, sorry.
no. Go ahead, Steph. You were saying.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think I was bartending and we were just talking about shows from the 90s. And like remember TGIF, Thank Goodness
Yeah.
It's Fridays, and like there were like 4 back-to-back shows and we were talking about like the nostalgia of it, and we just kept bringing up shows. So, like we talked about Dinosaurs, Family Matters,
Mhm.
Step by Step,
Step by
like all
Step.
these crazy shows.
Full House.
And Full House, was that on Fridays?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because remember,
But,
they did
like-
crossovers. Yeah.
Oh. But there were so many like good shows. I mean, I don't know if they're still good because I haven't watched them as an
I did.
adult, but like I miss those nights because they were so cheesy.
Oh yeah.
No Full
And
House
so,
is
but-
on Friday nights.
They were sitcoms.
Yeah. And I love Step by Step. Cody was great. I mean, until the domestic abuse.
Yeah.
charges, But
the-
before that, he was great.
There was that. Also, there was like some weird relationship stuff going on, and like, yeah, they're only foster kids, like that are not really related, but there was some weird shit that went on between a couple of them.
Nah, Cody was a kickboxer, dude.
Yeah.
Cody was like kickboxer 2. Was he kickboxer 2 or 3?
What? Who?
Cody.
What do you mean?
2, I think. Wasn't he 2?
2 or 3?
I don't know.
He was 2.
Mhm.
Okay, from all right, from
But
87 to 88. Okay, as I'm reading the TGIF lineup. It was Full House, I
Perfect
Married
Strangers.
Dora,
Perfect
Mr.
Strangers.
Belvedere, The Thorns, Max Headroom, Sledgehammer. That was the winner. Perfect Strangers came out in spring.
Perfect Strangers was my show, man.
So
Balky.
Oh, yeah.
by spring, it was Perfect Strangers, Full House, Mr. Belvedere, and Family Man.
Man, Mr. Belvedere was great.
Yeah, and that lineup kept going. I think they switched out Family Man for just the 10 of us, and then 88 to 89 was when Family Matters came in. So Full House, Family Matters, Perfect Strangers. Oh, I like that show.
And Family Matters was a spin-off of Perfect Strangers, but it was what's her name?
Yes.
It came from Perfect Strangers, and Urkel didn't even come in till like 12 episodes in or whatever.
I think it was like season
And
2 or
he wasn't
something.
even supposed to be the main, but then he became such a popular figure that he became the main character.
Well, and Family Matters in the beginning dealt with some real shit. Like they were dealing with like racism and like I mean they had like some legit stuff. And then when Urkel came in,
They weren't even dealing with no, Family Matters was written by white people.
but they were still dealing with the racist stuff. Like if you go back and look at it, like they had like real stories on there. Even if it was written by white people, they had real stories
But
on there.
So they were getting mad because it was like they were writing it as if they like. I'm not even gonna get into it. Never
Yeah. Well, anyways, like Family Matters was a great show, and like we all love Steve Urkel. He's a funny guy and everything. It changed the show completely. We'll put it that way.
Apparently, he was a big dick.
Julia White.
Please don't. Yeah.
No. But yeah, let's see. Step by Step started in
I don't know about
91.
that, but
Yeah, Dinosaurs was 92. Yeah, 92.
And I
Boy Meets World,
heard
Step by Step.
that
A lot of these ended up getting
like
moved
the
around to
ending,
other days. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
don't know what the ending was like, but I don't know. Somebody told me that. They were like, yeah, it's like everybody just like disappears. Like a meteor hits them, and I was like, damn.
Oh, and dinosaurs? Yeah. Yeah, so like the meteor that wipes out the dinosaurs ends up coming in. Like so they're watching like the news broadcast and everything like at their house, and they're like, "Oh, what are we going to do?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're just going to die." And that's like how it ends, is the meteor hits and the dinosaurs are dead. Beautiful Jim
Yeah,
Henson
but that
production.
show was like really weird.
It was ahead of its time.
It was, but it was like, I don't know, but because it was like,
It was a Jim Henson production. We'll put it that way.
yes, I guess there was some, but there was also like a Flintstone thing to it too.
Yeah, there was a little bit of how they did things. Oh yeah, Sabrina the Teenage Witch was in '97. I'm still looking at the TGIF lineup.
Ugh,
Sabrina the Teenage Witch,
hater.
Teen Angel. That sounds familiar. I don't remember what it was.
No, I probably didn't.
I
Watch
don't think I
past.
saw that.
Okay, and then in '98, Two Guys That Grow in a Pizza Place. Ryan Reynolds starred.
Ryan Reynolds, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that started on '98.
I don't think that lasted long.
It had a few seasons. It was good. I watched it. Yeah, see, it was still going in 2001. And then Who Wants to Be a Millionaire came on, and then they kind of stopped doing the sitcoms. A little bit here and there. 8 Simple Rules was on TGIF for a while.
Hmm.
And I'm just basically reading a TV guide right now. But interesting. Interesting, because you don't think about TGIF that much anymore.
Well, I think they did try to bring it back later on, but it didn't last long either. So they did try to revive it.
No, but like we were just talking about it, and I was like, hmm. I
Yeah.
wish they would bring it back.
Yeah, well, people aren't as into like those kinds of sitcoms anymore. Like, they're not really buying into them.
Yeah, that's true.
They're
Well,
doing. People like the multicam stuff more than the, than the laugh tracks and the.
things come back around though.
They do.
I think things can make a revival and things can come back around because then things went into mockumentaries.
Single
Oh,
cam is what I meant, not multicam.
yeah, things went into things went. I think we had
Yes.
Seinfeld and stuff like that, and then then we had Arrested Development,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like it didn't. It had a cult following. We had cult following type of stuff. It's Always
It
Sunny
did.
was around, but didn't really get big for a couple of years. The Office took a little bit of time, and then but then mockumentaries kind of became a thing.
Yeah, Parks and Rec.
Parks and Recs, and then Modern Family. But then there was a couple sitcoms here. But then there was a couple of those like Two Broke Girls,
Yeah.
Becker,
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory. But it's like they had its following in the 2010s and stuff like that. But I
Mhm.
have a feeling like if some of those shows came back, people would watch them. And like Connors had a following, but then there's a lot of, I mean, it has a following, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of people pissed too. But like it's still on. So I
Yeah.
have a feeling like if they did, and they're like Night Court has a thing going on, so like I have a feeling if they brought back good ones,
Hmm.
it would have a big following.
I think they moved away from like the
Yeah.
family sitcoms.
But what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is they have that laugh track type of thing. If they brought back good, they have the setup for it. If
Sure.
they brought back good family comedies, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it would work because of the nostalgia. Think of 40-something-year-olds that are like, man, I miss those days. And then he starts bringing back those type of shows.
Yeah. Well, Netflix actually had a couple that were pretty good. I mean, they didn't make it far. The Ranch, I didn't think was that bad. I thought it was a decent show.
Yeah,
There was,
for rapists.
yeah, I know. That's the problem with it. But then there was, so there was a,
Okay, there she is.
yeah, so there was a Christmas
yeah, I don't know
one
what's going
too.
on.
Yeah. There was a Christmas one too that had Dennis Quaid in it, and I can't remember the name of it, but I watched it. It only got one season. It was actually really good, and I liked it. And I think it just never got the appeal from enough people. And I'm trying to remember what the name of that show was because it was good. I gotta look it up now.
See, the
You guys
problem
talk.
with
I gotta look it
streaming
up.
is it's not like everybody's gathering around on a Friday night.
Right.
It's that's the difference. It's we're all now. Max released, and we talk about this in a bit, but the Last of Us season 2. Everybody was waiting for 9 o'clock Eastern Sunday night to watch that, just like House of the Dragon. So streaming, it's like, okay, 9 o'clock, this is the release.
Yeah.
So they got that going on, but Netflix doesn't like do that. They're just like Monday, this week it's released. But if you started saying like, oh, we're gonna release it at this time on this day, okay, you can do that. Like that can give you that type of feel.
I think that some of the channels are losing people
Yeah.
by not releasing all the episodes at once. So it's like, okay, well, I got to wait for another one, and then they start watching something else that is out released at once,
But Max isn't doing
and
that.
then they forget about. No, Max isn't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to do that.
Oh, yeah,
I don't think you have to do that. Like, if it's a good show, you don't have to do that. Like Apple TV with I mean, with Severance,
Yeah.
it's weekly.
A lot of the channels are. I do like when they release it all together because then I can just watch it over a few days. Like they did that with Fallout, because I watched the shit out of that in like 2 days. Literally 2 days, I finished watching that show. There's just so much out there that it's easy to get distracted away from like shows that even that you really like. Like House of Dragon season 2. I gotta watch all of that. I haven't seen any of it yet.
Yeah, but I do probably got to see that.
I liked the first season. It was really good.
It was.
It was better than some of the later seasons of Game of Thrones.
No, it was good. And maybe I'll get to it. I don't know. You're
Yeah.
right about that.
Yeah.
But I guess I don't know. Yeah, something about it just makes me not interested. But yeah, I don't. I think if you said like, hey, we're gonna make this kind of a, if they said like, hey, we're gonna release this family show
Mm-hmm.
and make it like, hey, we're gonna do like a TGIF type of thing, Friday nights, weekly
Right.
thing, I think people might get into that if you make a big production out of it, like if Netflix or Hulu or somebody.
Guys, I think we're on to something here.
Just create our own streaming service
Yeah.
where we only release things on Fridays.
And it's
Either
just
tune in on
us
Friday or
animated.
fuck off.
It's just us
That's-
animated. So like, I'll be like the son. I'm like, Daddy, can I have some more?
That'll be our slogan. Tune in Friday or fuck off. That would probably actually
Everybody
get a
will
lot of
watch.
viewers.
But like, think about how much now people are getting into like nostalgia, or even like
Yeah.
Gen Z's getting into like millennial type of stuff, or Gen X is into nostalgia and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
there's
Right.
a lot of there's people are making money off nostalgia.
Yeah. Did you
Absolutely.
I haven't watched it yet. Did you guys watch the Last of Us season 2 yet?
Yes,
No, I'm watching it this weekend.
it was pretty similar to the game. There were some differences. Just me. Some people will be mad, and I don't give a fuck. But some of the actors and actresses are a downgrade from the game. And maybe it's just the way I feel about the second game, and it's reliving the second game.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I haven't played half the second game yet because I am too Abby. I don't know if I should ruin this for you or not yet because it hasn't even happened in the show yet. But I will tell you this. Ellie is very unlikable in the first episode of the second season
Fair enough.
of The Last of Us. And I really did not like her in the first episode of the second season of The Last of Us.
Sure.
Number two, one thing I don't like about The Last of Us is I don't want fucking Pedro Pascal and everything.
Yeah.
And I guess that's,
he's big right now.
and I guess that's my two gripes. Other than that, like it's actually the first episode of the second season of The Last of Us is actually mostly almost shot for shot the beginning of the game. A couple tweaks. They didn't have, I believe, when she went out there was a Firefly fight. There was a run-in with a what was the Stalker clicker. That was pretty cool. But other than that, it was alright. I just, Ellie's very unlikely. But also, like, second game's an okay experience. I still got to beat the second half of the
Yeah.
second game, and maybe I should do that. I just don't want to play as Abby.
Yeah. Interesting. I'll have to check it out.
So, Abby. Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Spit it out.
So, The Last of Us, the first Last of Us, is like one of my favorite games of all time. At the end of The Last of Us, so Ellie is immune, so they are trying to get Ellie's blood
Mm-hmm.
to create a vaccine, right?
Yeah.
So Joel says no, and then kills everybody and takes Ellie, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second one, well, Joel's the asshole, and then this Abby bitch fucks up Joel.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now you see what I'm pissed.
Yes.
And
I
so
gotcha.
what they do is, oh, you're supposed to empathize with Abby, and now you're playing as Abby.
Hmm.
And so I'm at the part halfway through the second one where I have to play as Abby.
I gotcha.
And that's what's keeping me from finishing the game. Is I love Joe from one of my favorite video games of all time, and you want me to play as a character that killed him.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like tricky for me to talk about, because like, well, if I talk about it, I'm ruining the show. But it's like, well, play the fucking game, dude.
Right. I hear you. And I knew about that. That wasn't really like that. I mean, it's not a spoiler for me. It might be a spoiler for some of our listeners, but
But like they change everything in the show too. And
sorry, Dad.
as I'm well, no, they do change
Yeah.
stuff in the show, and as I'm watching the show, they are changing some things.
Okay.
Too. There are things in the first episode of the second season that they changed too.
Cool. Sweet. 2 weeks ago, I forgot to talk about this. I want to talk about the Electric State, which was on Netflix. It got released almost a month ago now, so a little behind on that one. But I watched it. Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown. She was very good in the movie. So if you haven't seen the movie, it's basically an alternate universe where Walt Disney decided to use robots instead of like animatronics and people in costumes at Disney World. Literally, like, that's how the movie opens up, is that Walt Disney created robots. Robots started going everywhere. There was a war between humans and robots. The humans ended up winning because of some kind of neural network thing they created, and then exiled the robots to a place called the Electric State, which was behind a wall. Said, hey, you guys go live over there. We're done with you. So that's like the start of the movie. So later on, Millie Bobby Brown, her character had lost her brother during this war and everything, and then he ends up coming to her as a robot that can only talk with like quotes from the robot or whatever. But he asks her to help him because he's like trapped in a machine that's creating this neural network. So she has to go to the Electric State. She finds Chris Pratt to get her in, and then it's a lot of interactions with robots. The robots are not like bad. It's, they wanted freedom, basically, is what they wanted, and humans were like, no, fuck you, get in the cage. So anyways, the movie was pretty good. I liked it. There were some awesome like fights between the humans and the robots. There was some drone stuff going on. It was humorous at times. Jenny Slate voiced one of the characters, and I love Jenny Slate. She cracks me up in everything she's in. But overall, I thought it was a very good movie. And it got a lot of shit from critics, but I thought it was good, and I think the audience had a more popular opinion of it. I don't know if either of you got around to watching that one.
Mm-mm. Of course not.
Yeah, of course not. I was really interested because I like the sci-fi stuff, so that it was something that appealed to me, especially with robots. Mr. Peanut is the leader of the robots, which was awesome. The little construction robot was cool. It wasn't without its problems, but I mean, I thought it was a overall good movie. It was better than Snow White, from what I'm understanding. Because Snow White has been fucking...
Still haven't seen it.
It is getting dragged right now. Snow White now has a lower IMDb rating than the Super Mario movie, Street Fighter, Dragon Ball Z Evolution, and what was the one? Ballistic Expert Sever, which is regarded as one of the worst movies of all time. But yeah, I think it's sitting at a 1.5 rating right now on IMDb out of 10.
Oh.
And it's hard for me to believe that the
Really?
movie itself is really that bad. I think a lot of this is just people's opinions of Rachel Zegler.
Well, I think it's like they don't call the dwarves. They call them like workers or something like that. Her name's not Snow White. It's like Alejandra or something. Like there's like a lot of stuff that's like weird about it. And
Yeah.
like how can you watch it and take it seriously?
They took a lot of liberties with the movie.
So it's like
They named her Snow White because it was
You
snowing.
can't watch this as you can't watch it and not think about Snow White. Like the only way I guess you can watch it and be non-biased is to not ever have heard of Snow White before.
True.
Which is impossible.
Yeah. Well, apparently
Or-
these people never heard about it.
It's either like you're from freaking some tribe in Amazon and you're watching it for the first time and you just learned English,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever language you're watching it, or you absolutely hate Snow White, but you actually like this version.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so a lot of it, I know that there was a lot of very negative press, like from the beginning with Rachel Zegler and all the stuff she was saying, all the nonsense she was spewing. And, you know, people were claiming, oh, freedom of speech and all that. But, like, you are employed by a company and you're doing a press tour and talking political nonsense that people were just not okay with. Like, you're going to get dragged through the mud on that. And she was like, I mean, there were videos of her crying, giving the finger, and like, you know, fuck this. And like, oh, you'll all come to my show. You'll all watch me. And you're all haters and stuff. And people were like, no, like, you suck.
Well, she said, "Don't come to my show."
Oh, yeah.
She said, "Don't watch me."
Yeah. And she was like,
Nobody did.
and she was outwardly like saying like, oh yeah, free Palestine in front of her Israeli co-star. like,
Oh yeah.
it's like you could tell how like uncomfortable Gal Gadot was. She was just sitting there like, do you know who I am? Like I was Miss Israel. Like I don't know, just like so fucked up. Like that's what you get for shooting your mouth off and like have your opinions, but you know, probably not while you're doing press tours for your movie. But
Yeah. And as you guys know, and that's a good point. As you guys know, like, I was, quoted to be in a TDS article this morning, Trump Derangement Syndrome article, and being a therapist and social worker, I was asked about this, and I was just like, and the guy's like, obviously a very conservative man. And he's like, I have emailed 10 people, and you're the only one that has messaged back. And I was just like, I just wondering if this is fake. And, he's like, well, feel free. I was like, well, I'll just give you as non-biased, balanced answer as I can. I want everybody to feel safe coming to me. Anybody to feel safe coming to me. I don't want anybody to feel unsafe coming to me. And that's what I did. Like, I'm not going to be like those motherfuckers. And that's what I did. And he's like, understandable. So like if you're gonna be, and I don't work for anybody either. That's the thing too. Like,
Yeah.
I represent myself. So if you're gonna be out there, you have, and she's young. That's the thing. If you're gonna be out there, you got to understand that your reputation is going to carry you for the rest of your life. People
Right.
are going to remember what you say 50 years from now. There are people getting canceled right now
Yeah.
for like sexual harassment from like 40 years ago or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
but then there's people being ignored for stuff. Because I hear about somebody saying, "Well, what is that Christmas song? Baby,
No,
it's cold outside."
yeah.
Baby, it's cold
That's
outside.
getting
My
canceled.
favorite Christmas song.
Yeah, that's getting canceled. But then like Ted Nugent, who's I've heard done crazy stuff's getting ignored.
Yeah.
So but the thing is though, when you're, I can't imagine what it's like to be a 20-year-old in Hollywood and be around it all the time, and then think that's what's expected of you.
Right. Well, and so interesting segue. So I was listening to Adam Carolla on this podcast earlier. It was the Iced Coffee podcast, I think is what it's called. And it just randomly popped up in my YouTube, and like I love Adam Carolla. And I hadn't seen him in a long time, and I was like, I wonder what I was like, so I'm curious, and I'm listening to it, and he's kind of talking about how he took a step back from Hollywood. Like, he's still doing like stand up and stuff, but he's like, I stepped back from Hollywood, and he was like giving kind of like the inside on all that. And it's nothing that like we don't really know. It was just interesting to hear him talk about it. And for those of you listening who are under 30 and don't know who Adam Carolla was, him and Jimmy Kimmel had a show on Comedy Central called The Man Show, and it was one of the greatest shows of all time. It ran for about 4 seasons. It had girls jumping on trampolines. It was amazing. It was funny. It was so funny. It was like sketch comedy.
If Jimmy Kimmel was on the right, the narrative would be 100 times different.
It would.
Blackface, sexism.
It was
100
yes.
times different.
But those were like some of my favorite sketches when he did Karl Malone. That was so funny. But I guarantee you can't find that anywhere now.
He would be Sarah Silverman.
Uh-huh.
If she was on the right, the narrative would be 100 times different.
She did get in a lot of trouble. Like, I don't know if you remember, she used the derogatory term for a Chinese person. Or an Asian, really.
Oh, well, I know that
She got in a lot of trouble for it. But she was never like fully canceled, and that was, I think, before people were really being canceled.
Yeah, well,
But
who knows? If I were to actually become famous, not that anybody would give a shit about me, but I'd probably I'd be afraid to be famous, because who knows what people dig up about me.
Well, so anyways, Adam Carolla and the podcast just like talking about Hollywood and like
Rick walking around pantsless in a parking lot.
Just say you had a mental break.
I experienced it.
Say you had a mental break, you'll get a couple of Netflix documentaries, it'll be fine. But like it was interesting to hear him kind of like talk about Hollywood, and he was like, he's like, if you were he was talking specifically about the COVID stuff, and he said if you were somebody in Hollywood who said, I don't believe this, none of this is real, whatever, like you weren't getting work anymore. Like you were done. If you were kind of agnostic and said like, maybe it's real, maybe it's not, like you might get some work. But like the people who were getting work were the ones who were like, oh yeah, I'll get on a commercial and tell people to wear a mask or get the vaccine and do this. Like they had to conform with what those ideals were by the people who are producing and making these things. So, and that, the COVID was just an example he used, but he also talked about just very political stuff like, hey, whoever your boss likes is who you like. Whoever like the director likes is who you like. And it causes a lot of people, there's a lot of people who are like closeted politically. Like they will say whatever they need to say to keep the work going, to keep like the money going and stuff.
I've heard
So, yeah, it's really interesting to hear him talk about it. He had a lot of very interesting points on it. I think it was like a 3-hour podcast. But he was, he jumped into politics a little bit. And I mean, again, I guess from watching the Man Show, like I don't know if I ever took him as seriously, but like, I mean, he's a very smart guy. Like a lot of stuff he's saying, and he like left LA, and he has nothing but bad things to say about LA. He's like, I left Hollywood, I left LA.
Well, I think that's probably why a lot of people do it. A lot of child actors do it. A lot of people leave LA. But then there's a lot of people that end up like immune from it. Like Zachary Levy, Chris Pratt. There's a couple of them that are able to just like, I don't give a fuck.
Because they also put asses in seats.
Right. So there's a couple of them that are able to like put their middle finger out there and do it.
Their fame supersedes what they believe.
But then, but I think with Rachel Zegler, I think she's just a young girl who just got caught up in, I think this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then took it too far.
Right. Almost like she was trying to be the, like, oh yeah, I'm the bad girl who says what she thinks and everything. Like, I'm going to get a reputation to do that. And it's like, that's not how it works in the real world.
Right. And I don't, like, she doesn't even know, she might not even know what she's saying.
No, there's a very good possibility she doesn't know.
And whether people believe it or not, that's not, some people might, I don't know. That's for you to decide, but, I think sometimes people just get wrapped up in kind of a herd mentality. And try to just fit in.
Yes, and that's what most of Hollywood is that you're trying to fit in. And it's funny because as you like listen to some other podcasts, like I was watching the Joe Rogan where Tom Green was on. And Tom Green, who had this reputation back when we were, high school, middle school, whatever, of just being like a really weird guy who was just kind of always combating the norm. And it was so interesting to hear him talk on Joe Rogan and like how very normal of a person he is. And he's like, hey, I did what I did, to kind of challenge people. And it was an act. What he was an act. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
And like, I'm challenge my daughter too. Like, challenge your children, because she starts to say something, and then I'll be like, well, let's check that out, and she'll go, you know what, I agree with that. Somebody said something, and so we talk about, I'm not even going to get into that on here. But
sure.
Because kids are in the YouTube and the TikTok, because I'm Zennial. And so this is how us old people talk. She's in the internets. And so, and she's talking to the other chilling at school. And so they all get into the talking. And so they start getting into these ideas, and so I try to challenge the ideas. So make sure you're talking to your children. They are listening.
Yeah.
Just FYI. Because I don't want my kid to... I want my child no matter what her identity is, I'm going to enable that identity because she can be whoever she wants. I want her not to think like me. I want her to think like her. And I want her to challenge what people are telling her.
Yeah. Steph, you've been quiet for a while. What do you think?
Yes.
She's like, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Sorry. No, I'm like listening. I think that. Sorry, I've got food right next to me and it's just like staring at me. No, I agree. I think that what Rick said is. No, I just haven't eaten all day, so I'm hangry and it's just staring at me. I think that. What was the question? Sorry. It's been a long day, you guys.
The question was, what do you think? What do you think about this discussion?
I think it's interesting. I think like you gotta shut up.
We were we were talking about celebrities in Hollywood conforming to the idealism of the people that run the studios.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want your job, you're gonna go with what they say. I mean, that's how most businesses are. Like, if your boss likes to golf, you better pretend that you love to golf because that's how you're gonna get, possibly bonuses, commissions, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it isn't just in the Hollywood realm. I think it's also in normal corporate America. Rick and I don't work for technically corporate America, but
I kind of do.
We're both 1099s, and yeah. So it's like, in order to get the better treatment, you're going to conform to your bosses and be who they want you to be. So I don't necessarily think it's bad or good. It is what it is. And the more you challenge, like Rick just said, like the more you challenge, you should challenge the people who are questioning you or making you feel some type of way. But the more you do that, the less benefits you get. And that's coming even from the bar industry that I was in. If you aren't the like flirty, like outgoing, bubbly person that's going to bring in business, you're not going to get the shifts. Now, on the flip side of that, I am the bitchy bartender because I know people enjoy that, but I flip to whatever the patron wants, right? So if I have a group of frat boys come in, I'm going to talk sports with them. If I have a family come in, I'm going to talk about school, the neighborhood, my nieces and nephews. You know what I mean? Like, you conform to your audience. So I don't think that it's anything different than what the rest of us do in our daily lives.
No, definitely not. Definitely. I mean, for the most part, I just keep my mouth shut. It's easiest that way.
Yeah. It was, I was in a conference, because I wasn't on last week. I was in a conference in Arizona, and I was surrounded by brokers from all over the world that are affiliates of the brokerage that I'm a part of. And it was nice because we all had the same goals and values, and there wasn't a ton of competition because we're all from different markets. What I'm doing in Chicago means nothing to the people in New York. So we were spitballing ideas off of each other, but you could see like some of the upper people, they were like, oh, I did this and I did this, and they were competing, but they were trying to conform to each other to be like, oh, well, I did this amount of business, and this one's like, well, I did this. And so it's interesting. It was interesting to see that dynamic. Meanwhile, I'm like, I just rented a $2,200 apartment. What's up? You did $85 million. I did $2,200. But
right.
It's kind of that whole same thing. But then like Chicago, our Chicago group, we were fun. People wanted to hang out with us. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. But like, we had the smallest group, but people were all wanting to hang out with us. And I think it was because we were all of ourselves, and people enjoyed that. There was no pretense or we're better than you. It was a very like we're all on the same level. We're here to have a good time and a network. So
'Cause
like
Midwesterners
we will
are
take you in.
the best.
Yeah, honestly.
It's
Because the
it's
Nashville
Midwest
group, I
attitude.
got along with them so well. And they're Midwesterners. So it's like our two groups really bonded because we just were out there to like have a good time and there wasn't any jealousy or anything like that. We were like, what do you do? Awesome. Let's go get a drink or let's go dance and or let's go do thing. And when I lived in Florida, um, I would have people tell me that they love the Midwest because we were so welcoming and kind to everyone.
Yeah.
And yes, I lived in Florida.
See,
Yeah, you did. Florida person.
see, when I
Oh,
talk
your
to
wife
people,
lived in Florida.
I mean,
Shut up.
She did.
I mean, I tend to be an asshole, or I tend to be either an asshole I mean, I tend to go along with things for the most part. I wouldn't even say I'm an asshole, but you know, when I get people from the East Coast, people from the East Coast are like, come to the Midwest, and they're like, man, people are nice here because people on the East Coast are just assholes. Like, you can't, people are just going to bite your head off, you know? And then when I talk to people on the West
Yeah.
Coast, and now I'm going to the West Coast in a couple weeks, but specifically California, they use fucking words like delicious and not talking about food. And nobody wants to use that in conversation.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear that in conversation, you know? And it's just people make them uncomfortable. Okay, so there's a lot of weird stuff that happens all around the country, you know? But I feel like, yeah, there's a lot of competition everywhere else. Um, yes, the Midwest is
Mhm.
definitely more laid back than everywhere else. If you've ever been anywhere else in the world, anywhere else,
Yeah.
uh, especially around the country.
Yeah.
But the Midwest is probably
Right.
one of the most laid back places in the world. I've been all around the world as far as the way people are.
Right.
Take that as you. And now even like I've driven all over. I've driven in busy cities and stuff like that. As busy as driving in Chicago is, I can drive in Chicago with ease. I have no problem driving in.
It's because there's no fucking rules.
I have, but I have no. I have. There's no
There are
rules. It's
not.
Wild West, but I have. I don't have any panic driving rush hour in Chicago.
Sure.
Yes, it takes 2 hours to get one place to an hour to another. If I'm trying to get to a Bulls game, you know, uh, at 7 o'clock, and I leave at like 4 o'clock, it's going to take me a couple hours. But like, I don't have any panic, um, even though it's like bumper to bumper.
Yeah.
I like.
You know how to do it. It's familiar.
Right. The Midwest is like, I don't know, maybe it's just me because I'm comfortable in the Midwest, but I've been all over and I just feel like the Midwest is the most comfortable place to be. I don't it's just the cold. It's just
Sure.
cold for me.
So yeah, it's the cold. So I live in the city, and I was driving around today. I had to go all over for multiple showings, like up north to downtown, back north. Like I was literally all over. And at one point, I just got so annoyed because I was stuck in traffic, and all I had to do was make it like half a block to turn, and I knew I was going to get stopped. So I was pretty proud of myself. So I like got into the oncoming traffic lane. There was no oncoming traffic. Scooted around, made my left. I get in there. There's no fucking parking. I was like, okay. So I turn around. I see this guy pulling out of a spot that I needed, and I immediately like U-turned it around, pulled into this spot like a pro. I was like, this is the most Chicago thing I've done today. I walked to to the front desk because they can see the parking, and I know they can. And I was like, "Did you guys see that?" I was like, "That was amazing."
I wouldn't want to drive around Chicago like all day. That wouldn't be
But
what
it's
I
like there
wanna
are no rules.
do.
You're constantly going in and out.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, if I'm going up there for a
Well, don't have my
sports
job
ball
then.
game, I don't have a problem doing that.
Yeah.
But
Well, and once you get
like,
used to it, you know,
driven,
obviously, you know
like,
the back roads
Atlanta,
just like you do.
you know,
Yeah.
I've driven like
Oh yeah. That's
I've
awful.
driven like Louisville, rush hour, fucking annoying on that bridge. If you're going,
It's
if you're going
Louisville.
south, shit,
It's Louisville.
forget about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, you wouldn't think Louisville, it's a pretty small city, but oh my god, it's annoying.
Have you ever driven through or to Virginia Beach from the north and you have to go under the tunnels to get to Virginia Beach? If you have not, it's literally you're under the ocean. They like made a tunnel under the ocean and you will get stuck there for like an hour or two because traffic is insane and it's two ways. And for somebody who's claustrophobic, I remember getting stuck there and you can feel like the cold dampness of like the ocean around you. And I was like, this is Final Destination shit. Like this is gonna cave in. We're all gonna die because you could see like the moisture coming down the walls. That's
Yeah,
an
no, thank you.
experience. Don't ever travel to Virginia Beach from the north during rush hour.
I have not.
I used to do it a lot. Once you get there, it's fine, but it's like you will get stuck in that tunnel.
I did get annoyed going to Gulf Shores though,
So that's my story. Why?
Cool.
because it's a small area with a lot of traffic. It's just not that big of an area, and they pack a lot of people in.
You know, ever since COVID, more people have cars because public trans wasn't a thing. So more and more people bought cars. And I've noticed that in the city, everybody wants parking, but they're not willing to pay the $300 a month for parking. And they're like, I need it. I'm like, how often do you use your car? They're like, well, like once a week. I'm like, then get rid of your car. I was like, public trans is still back.
$300 a month.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah. Out of your
But
mind.
it's funny because yeah, but people are surprised by that. And I'm like, it's the city of Chicago. They're getting it. I'm like, either
Yes, that's interesting.
Yeah. Totally.
Well, I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think it's she's Steph's frozen right now, and I'm pretty sure that she's still talking and recording. Not quite sure. Give her a second. Give her a second, and I think we'll wrap this up. Well, everybody, it's been a pleasure from all of us here at Spit Take, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Make sure to leave a like, share, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff, and we'll see you next time.
Love up, guys.